All right, we are back with the Treasure live stream event. I'm Mike, Coach. I'm one of your hosts with Nick, one of our other co-founders of CloakedTreasure. Nick, how's it going?
Good, Mike. It's always a wonderful opportunity to hang out with you and speak to some winners. So I'm excited to be here tonight.
Speaking of winners, we've got Stefan and Erika, the solvers for the Stage 9 puzzle. Welcome to the stream.
Thank you. Hi. Hello, everyone.
Thanks for having us again.
I love that. So I figured what I would do is I would start by kind of talking about kind of going through the clue, what the clue was, and then how it was built, and then the solve, and then we'll kind of walk through how you guys figured it out, what clues, which rabbit holes you went down, and everything else. So I'll zoom in here a little bit. So the clue was essentially a bunch of matchsticks making letters into words. So Sphinx of Black Quartz, Judge My Vow is the top portion. And then the bottom portion was a whole bunch of colored dominoes. And so the interesting thing is you've got yellow matchstick heads and blue matchstick heads, but you've got yellow dominoes, blue dominoes, and green dominoes. So, my thought was, I'm guessing people are going to figure out yellow and blue make green. So that's probably, where the green comes from. But how do you get that was going to be the question. So the way that I did it was the left side of the domino was the number for that matchstick. So in this case here on the second one, the 2 dominoes means it's 2 blue matchstick heads. For green is yellow plus blue. So, the only one with 8 is black, or is the B. So there are 2 yellows and 6 blues. So that makes 8. So that's kind of the first side. The left side was the number of matchstick heads for that color. The right side was the trickier side. And this was the part that I'm like, is this going to be too hard? Is it going to be too easy? Are people going to solve it right away? And that one, I'm going to share a spreadsheet that I created. And essentially, I can zoom in here. The right side is which order is it in? In A to Z order, which number of that was there? So, for example, A had 5 total matchsticks. So 2 yellow and 3 blue for a total of 5. So the first number was going to be 5 for green, right? Because it's a sum of yellow plus blue. But it's the first one that had 5. And then D was the next one that had 5. So that's 5, 2. And then E was the next one that had 5. So that's 5, 3. So if you go through the entire A to Z for each one of those, that's how I built the puzzle. So A was always number 1 because there was no letters before A. But after that, it kind of changes. So the unique part is each one of these letters has 3 different possible dominoes. It could be a yellow domino, it could be a blue domino, or it could be a green domino. And so that made it really unique because the answer was Bridge Park, which is a park in Battle Creek, Michigan. Bridge Shop, which is a structure inside the bridge park. And so the cool thing is, even though 2 of the words were the exact same, none of the dominoes were duplicated, which I thought was going to be kind of the tricky piece. So I have a full solve out here that kind of walks through all of this as well. But that's kind of the quick and dirty. Is it really comes down to the left number being the number for that type of that color matchstick head, and the right number of the domino being where in line is it? Is it the first one? Is it the second one? Is it the third one? So that's kind of the quick and dirty and the solve. But I'm gonna hand it over to Nick and Stefan and Erika to kind of talk about how did you solve it? What rabbit holes did you go down? I was super afraid it was going to be too easy, and because I knew how it was built, so my brain only looked at, well, this is so obvious, and everybody else is doing some super unique things. I got DMs on like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I'm like, my brain never went there. So I'm always super curious about how other people solve it. So I'm going to stop talking right now and hand it over to Nick, Stefan, and Erika.
Yeah, thanks.
No, so I'm gonna start off, right away with a question. When you saw that first time it got posted, what was your very initial thought before you even devoted any time to it? You see this crazy puzzle on your screen. What's your first reaction?
Well, actually, when I saw that first, I was like, "Oh, this is great. We can solve that." It looked kind of something that we could solve. Like, I don't know, just from looking at it. Oh, there's green dots and yellow dots and blue dots, whatever. So we thought we could look at it, do some frequency analysis, do counting, matching it up or whatever. It looked straightforward initially when we looked at it first. Turned out not to be the case.
And I originally thought there's no way green is a rabbit hole. Don't look at the green at all. So instantly, because we started where he does his solve in one room and I do it in another room, so we don't influence each other. And so I wasn't looking at the green at all. And we're both making these graphs and charts, counting up the color matchsticks, like if it's green, if it's blue or yellow. But it wasn't for a while until we caught on, like, actually green is like the most important color of all of it. So we definitely kind of had a different style going at first.
No, I think it's really interesting that you guys choose to solve it or attempt to solve it separately. I think that's definitely one way to do it, and I applaud that. I think it's pretty cool. So,
well, we've gotten in trouble in the past where one of us will have an idea, and it makes sense when you describe it to somebody else, and then we'll go way off track for a really long time, when maybe if we were trying to do it by ourselves without that bias from the other person, we probably would have worked a little faster.
No, for sure. So the thing is, this is a lesson learned that you've built on from previous experience to get a little better as you've gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I think we both really convincing when we present our idea to the other one.
Did you realize? Did you understand?
Can you repeat it? You're breaking up just a bit on our end.
No, for sure. No, and I apologize. I think it's my bad internet. So there's probably gonna be some longer pauses between my talking just to make sure my internet catches up to me.
So you were asking, did we realize?
Did you understand? I'm sorry. Did you understand that you needed to attempt to figure out letters from the matchsticks to turn them into letters down from the dominoes?
Yeah, and what I originally thought was, okay, we didn't know if each domino was one letter or two letters, but I thought that once we got them in a line, because kind of the pangram, I thought we would then scramble them up. So I didn't know that it would be written out a word in order. I was thinking, okay, there's maybe 4 words, and we're going to have to unscramble them. So that's kind of where what I was thinking at first. What did you think?
Yeah, there was a lot of open questions how to approach it, right? Like you said, is the left side and the right side, how to combine them on the dominoes? Do they make 1 letter? Do they make 2? Is it some sort of instruction how to go forward in the sequence or something? Like we had a ton of different thoughts and nothing worked out really.
Stefan cut them all up into little pieces and moved them around. We were trying to, I even like one time took he had his cut up little dominoes on the table, and when I came in, I think it was the kitchen the next day, I was moving them kind of like dominoes, like, okay, well, this green too could match this green here, and I was trying to make a pattern with the little cutout dominoes.
We tried to visually match them, turning it around, see if that overlays somehow. Like there was a lot of different approaches.
Try anything we didn't think of already.
Yeah, I got like I said, I got a few different DMs that were really unique spreadsheets that were put together, and they took the matchstick pieces out, but just left the heads and like did other interesting things with the matchstick heads. So again, like I thought, man, this might be a really easy one because I already knew the solve. But if you don't know the solve, you know, your brain can work in pretty crazy ways and go down a lot of different rabbit holes. I actually almost made it harder because what I almost did, I almost added 2 more colors to the matchstick heads, or 1 more color to the matchstick heads and 2 more colors to the dominoes. I was considering using red as an additional matchstick head and white as a different domino, because white is the sum of all colors, right? So green would still be yellow plus blue, but white would be yellow plus blue plus red. And I decided it didn't need to be that challenging. And I'm kind of glad, because I think that would have blown people's brains.
I can see why you try to make it harder, because once you know the solve, you think, oh, that's straightforward, but reverse, it's not.
Yeah.
I think I even messaged Greg and was like, or I asked him to do it. I'm like, just ask him, was he able to solve it without any hints? Him looking at it, could he solve it without anybody else?
I can maybe quickly share my screen and show like the
Yeah, for sure.
with like that button here, I guess.
You know, it's funny because I didn't really trust that Stefan was doing it all the way correct until the very end, and I was just kind of going with what he was saying was right. I'm like, okay, and then yeah, it ended up being absolutely correct.
Yeah, and I messed up, you know, early on. Easy to do. What I ended up doing is I ended up missing, as I was changing the colors of the matchstick heads. That changes obviously where they are at in line. If you go from 3 blue and 2 yellow to 4 blue and 1 yellow, it changes the whole matrix, right? And I had made a change and I didn't update 2 of the letters. And it made all these downstream changes about like everything that I did was wrong after that. And I was just mortified.
But it helped us know it was a sequence. So that's where we knew, like, okay, one thing is a chain event to the next. So it actually ended up helping us out a little bit.
And then I felt a little bit better knowing that, because I'm like, okay, if they actually figured out how to work the matchsticks to the dominoes, they would have been like, bro, this does not make sense. Like, most of these words are good, but like this one doesn't make sense. What happens here? So I was pretty sure nobody had solved that part yet. Mm-hmm. So I was able to fix it while also giving a hint.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our initial spreadsheet, just having all the hints, and there were so many weird words that you used also in the initial clue, like realm and new path unfolds, take heart. And initially, actually, we went also like, does it have something to do with like games, maybe Dungeons and Dragons, like 2 worlds, connect something? I don't know. Way off course on that one. And then, I don't know, we tried so many different things, like coloring it in a different way. The main issue with the green, and I think a lot of people have the same thought, we initially thought where the green, the blue and the yellow connect, that makes a green dot, you know, not the sum. Yeah. And then once you clarified the M, it doesn't matter where they connect, basically, that threw that idea kind of out of the window, because then the M would have had 2 green dots too if you flip those around. Yeah, I don't know. We tried so many different things. I will not explain. I just show you, like, we put together like tons of spreadsheets, taking it apart, summing it up, I don't know, whatever. We made similar what you just explained, just the dots to see if there's something here. Yeah, I don't know.
Many hours.
Many hours later, the final spreadsheet looked like that. So we figured out, okay, it's got to be this pengram. Probably we need to put it in alphabetical order. But we didn't really know what to do with it yet, right? So then you came with that hint, the comic strip, right?
And to be or not to be, that there's 2 B's.
Oh yeah, there was 2 B's, that was one thing. Then the comic strip confirmed or told us, we didn't know, that green is actually the sum. So with that information alone, knowing, okay, green is the sum and yellow and blue obviously just match the letters. And then you also said like this third row, the first letter is also a B, so we could narrow that down. So all that, and then there was some unique ones unique ones like the G and the R already in here, right? They didn't have multiple matches for the domino. So with that, Erika was able with just putting down all the letter combinations to solve
Yeah.
Bridge Park Bridge.
So what first happens is my brain was someplace else, and he showed me this print off of what he was thinking, and we were looking at the third row being a B, and he's trying to explain to me, well, that means like this one could be all these numbers, and I really wasn't following what he was saying. And he's like, well, look, these are the different numbers that it could be. And I just looked at it, I'm like, well, that spells bridge. And because it was like ended up being like a Wordle. He's like, this one has to be a B and this one has to be a G. I'm like, well, it's bridge. And then once he got that, he like runs upstairs to his office and he starts working it. I kept that print off and I'm like, well, I'll just follow what he told me the pattern was. And so I had, for every single tile, I had a list of every letter it could possibly be following his strategy. And then I went to AI for like the second word and I said, list off every single 4-letter word that has R as the third letter. So I shout out, that's the second word tomorrow. Okay, and then he's like, okay, and we still don't know how the pattern works, so we have 2 words, and then I'm like, well, let me just go through. Okay, let's go to the first word again. It starts with a B. The third word is a D. What are the words? I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, it's bridge again, Bridge Park Bridge. And so I come upstairs, and then that's when he took my words and so, well, how did he get there? And then reverse engineered it, like, let's see the pattern. And then he took that and he then like, well, we have to confirm that that's right. So we went from like guessing all the possible words and worked backwards to find the pattern. We never found that pattern first. So
That's great.
First of all, Bridge Park Bridge didn't make sense also, right? We needed some
we thought it was Bridge Park Bridge
Bridge. Yeah, actually Bridge Park Bridge Park, that would you could spell park as well, but the last one. So like somehow we need to confirm, but then once we looked at it again, right, with the solved Bridge Park, oh yeah, okay, B is the first one, this R is the whatever 1, 2, 3, the 5th one in the sequence whatsoever, right? So it made sense. We confirmed and everything, and then we found the shop, and then I was like, okay, Bridge Park Bridge Shop. What that's supposed to be?
Is there a little gift shop outside of this park?
But then we did a Google Map search or Google search, and then we found Bridge Park in Battle Creek, and so thought like, oh yeah, that is a good fit. It has all these bridges, and it's it's in the area. It's near Kalamazoo, where I know where Greg lives. But that wasn't enough for us. It was like 7 p.m. already by then when we as we got there. And I was like, it's dark. It's a 2-hour drive or almost 2-hour drive.
We're not going.
Where would we even start looking, right? And then I just, talked with ChatGPT again, and I was like, sharing all the information, and then asking, can you make sense of it? Is there anything related bridge shop at that bridge park? And happily for us, ChatGPT found that blog page here where that bridge shop is actually mentioned.
That person said it was a good addition to the park.
It's really cool. My son got senior pictures there. So we took senior pictures with my son there, and he's sitting up there. It's pretty cool. But I did so much I didn't ask ChatGPT to find me images or anything, but I did so much searching to find anything with the bridge park. Does the bridge shop show up anywhere? And I could find nothing. So I hats off to you that you were able to find something.
Park website first, because it has then all the bridges and stuff, but it doesn't mention this bridge shop, right? So that was a dead end. So yeah, I know we got lucky to find it, and lucky for us, we apparently were the only ones, at least of the people who went that night, who knew about it.
Yeah, and it was funny because we knew we were a good 15 to 20 minutes behind Doug, and because he was messaging us in the car, like, "Are you guys going?" And I said, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Are you going to Battle Creek?" And I said, "Oh, we're going to Kalamazoo." They're like, "Oh, I don't know why Battle Creek. We're going to Kalamazoo." Like, he knew I was just teasing him. I had a little wink face on that, but we knew he was 20 minutes ahead of us. We're like, "There's no way we're going to get it, but let's just go." I said, "There's an advantage. There's 2 of us looking versus like 1. Maybe we're going to get there later." But then once we got there, and everybody who was there seemed to be on bridges, and they're looking at bridges, and we were the only ones who were like, it's not a bridge, it's not a bridge. And so we, for 40 minutes in the dark with flashlights out, we're the only ones at the structure. And you know, we stopped for a little bit, and we're like, okay, let's go back. And as we thought that some of the peace seekers were going to go right to that structure because they might have saw us on it, they kept running right past it. And I was like, oh, okay, it's just us. We got to find it. We got to find it.
Yeah, if you don't know about it, you wouldn't pay attention to it, especially in the dark, right? In the dark, you cannot see it unless you point a flashlight like over this little creek that is there. And then even then, you wouldn't be able to see that it actually says bridge shop in the dark. You know, you would have to really stand in front of it like I did on that photo.
And then we knew we were in the right place. We absolutely knew it. We're like,
okay.
Oh my, because we didn't know it said Bridge Park until we saw it in the dark.
Yeah. I was not anticipating a night hunt, I will say.
It was fun.
I gotta say, it was really like after we were a little, you know, divided in if we liked that stage or not, because, you know, we didn't get out of the house. It was a lot of just sitting at the screen. But I mean, that was the twist to it. Like, it was really exciting then basically having this race at the end.
Because we learned, like, there was another time where we wanted to go to the Shakespeare restaurant, and I was waiting for him to get off of work. And then within the 2 hours of me waiting for him to get off of work, somebody else had gotten there. So we know, like, no, with this group, this competitive group, you can't wait when you know it. You got to go. So he looked actually on Google Earth to see, well, does this park have a gate? Can we get in at night, even if it's closed? You know, so we're looking, he's making the little camera go down, and it's like, there's no gate. We can just go. Didn't know there'd be a police officer there. But.
So speaking of police officers, funny story. So I knew that people, I mean, I got DMs from people like, yep, I've got it solved. This is what it's going. I'm like, yep, they're on the way. You know, they've got the right solve. And I live in Kalamazoo as well. So it's 25 minutes, 30-ish minutes from my house. I'm like, okay, I was totally freaking out that the magnet had fallen off and someone picked it up or something that just wasn't there. And I was just be mortified that if everybody's there at night or whatever, looking for this thing, and it's been some stranger ganked it or something, I'm like, I have to go there and see if it's there, and I'm going to beat them there. So I go, and I did actually beat everybody there. But as I was driving in, it was pitch black on the first bridge overlooking, like when you kind of drive in and underneath it, there was a dude in a trench coat up there. And I'm like, that's creepy and weird. And so like I drove in, there was somebody in a vehicle in the parking lot with their lights on. And I'm like, I don't drug deal, or I don't know what's going on here. So I kind of like turn around. I'm like, I don't feel safe. I don't know what that dude was out doing up there. No flashlight or anything. He was just standing there in the dark. Oh. And so I'm like, okay, well, I think I'm just going to head home, and I'll just come back first thing in the morning. Cause they probably won't find it at night anyway. So I'm on my way home, and I happen to pull up side by side to a police officer. And I'm like, really weird question, but is there any chance that you could follow me back to the Bridge Park? I just have to check something real quick, but I don't feel safe there because of that stranger. Right. And so they ended up going there. They beat me there. A different police officer ended up having to come. So the police went there to meet me so I could check safely. And of course, by the time that all happened, you all had gotten there. The creepy dude was gone. And so like, I think Doug was the one that came up to me with the police officer. Like, do you know this person? I'm like, I recognize, and I'm terrible with names and faces. Like, yeah, I recognize him, but I just don't remember the name. So sorry, Doug. And I'm like, yeah, he's one of our group. Don't worry about it. This is all kosher. So it was so embarrassing.
Well, I was going to make him leave because I was like, our car's going to get towed. Our car's going to get towed. We have to leave. We'll park someplace else. We'll wait a little bit, and then we'll come back. And then finally when we were coming, and Doug's like, oh, no, we have permission to be here. We're fine. I'm like, okay, great. Yeah. It's so nice that we now kind of know some of the seekers too, running into them. It's fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was such an interesting, weird story about the whole like police thing and getting there before you guys, but thankfully the creepy guy was gone by the time you guys all got there. So
the police approached us just when we had just parked like at the Rangers office there, or whatever building is, and then we walked down to the parking lot. And then we were with our flashlights walking, and then the police came behind us and like, "This is your truck." There was a truck park.
I said, no,
Yeah,
that's not
that's
our
our truck.
truck.
Oh, you're just walking around? Yeah. Okay. Well, technically the park closes at 8:30, whatever you said. Okay.
Mhm.
But then he let us go. I don't know. He didn't care.
Mhm.
Yeah. But still pretty difficult to find us in the dark. I gotta say, we were on our knees.
And there was pickers. And then once we found where you hid it was, you didn't even have to walk in all those pickers. It was like the very first spot. You just walked and stuck it right under there. We were in the pickers for 40 minutes. It was damp. Oh, yeah, it was an experience.
Yeah, I was
In
right.
fairness, I
Actually,
spent
red
well over an
circle,
hour
right?
finding the right spot. It
Yeah,
happened to be
that
the
circle
very
is right
first
where you
closest
actually-
spot, but it took me a long time to figure that out.
You actually walk right up to this corner of the structure when you come from the bridge that you had to cross to get over there. But yeah, we didn't cross. I guess we checked in this area too, but not thoroughly enough in the first place. So we went all over here on our knees in the middle. Well, we found it. It was fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm glad y'all had a good time.
Want to unshare that? So
Yeah, I'll stop sharing it.
Oh, and Greg apparently popped in and said the answer to the "could Greg solve it" question was no. My brain never considered that sequence in the alphabet was important. That was the toughest part of this.
I guess that because he never gave a straight answer if he solved it or not.
he's like, he didn't solve it.
I was like, no way he solved it. I cannot believe it. Especially with the dominoes wrong in the first place. Like, no way.
Well, I'm glad I didn't add the red matchsticks and the yellow dominoes. That would have been probably way harder than it needed to be.
So I'm going to try and ask a question. Hopefully my internet is not going to crap out on us all. You are now the winners of 2 stages. How did winning this second one compare to winning the first one that you won? Or, what can you say about the experience of being a 2-time winner now?
Well, this one we felt was so much more like a real win, because that first stage 6 for the 3 parts, we got so much help along the way that even when we were at these springs and messaging Greg like, we're doing this exact count, we are right over it, we're looking under it, like we really got help along the way. Like every stage, help to find the QR code, help to find this, help to find that. The only thing that we didn't get help on was that final stage with the law library. Like that one we did ourselves, but the 2 going up to that, we really got a lot of help. Where on this one, it was the first one where we didn't get there first, but we were the only group, we think, that knew exactly what we were looking for. And so that really made it feel special. And so, and as Stefan said before, like, I really miss going to different wrong locations. We found the most amazing locations when they were wrong. So the first part of this I didn't like, but that night alone is what I'm going to remember forever. It was so much fun talking to my parents. Like we were out there with flashlights and this and that. So this one is one of my favorite endings. It was like adrenaline. It was so much fun. It was like the best story to tell people. And it really felt like we together worked really, really well together, even though I wasn't following along at first, but then I was like, okay, we totally did this together. And yeah, it felt like a real win.
That's great. Now, I want to be clear for all of our viewers out in TV land. When you say we got all this help, you got all the help that everybody got.
I mean, from other seekers. So we worked together with people.
We worked on stage 6 because it was 3 sub stages, right, to get to the final thing. We started to collaborate with other people, right? So that was like, I don't know, maybe it was just stage 6. I think some people carried on with that, still collaborating. But like I said, like even at the Yago Springs, we knew we were in the right place on the right staircase and whatever, and we still needed confirmation. Yeah, you're on the right step, or we had like 1 step off or something like that. And then at the
even at the Sharps, there was a lot of us talking. We were talking a lot with other people at Sharp. So it's like on all these other ones, when there's multiple stages or when it's really, really long, it's 6 weeks long. And we're like, well, reach out to them. What do they know? What do we know? And we can kind of share back and forth. So it was really reaching out with different seekers for a lot of the stages. But on this one, we kind of stayed a little bit close, a little quieter.
A little close to the vest, huh?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's great. So we're now 9 stages in. We have one more to go that Mike's going to be talking about in a few minutes. We have a dog chiming in, which I understand.
She's excited.
Obviously. Have you enjoyed this experience for the last 5 months?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
We really made this like our summer fun project. That's how it started, right? In June 1st is when this all started. And we already had our vacation done earlier in the year. So we were like, oh, we're not traveling. And then I found this recommended by the Michigan Adventure Race. So we just did a Michigan Adventure Race earlier. And they posted on Facebook that, hey, check this out. These guys were just doing a race with us and they're doing this treasure hunt. Join the hunt. And I looked it up and it was just, okay, it's $20. But I mean, what can I lose, right? It's and I mean, I gotta say, we got $20 worth of entertainment times, I don't know how many times more out of this. Yeah. So, and really like, we also talked with Doug actually last week when we were there, and it's like, it's not even about winning. I mean, the win is exciting, right? Of course, to be the first to, but even in the previous stages, we were like, I don't even care to be the first, but I want to solve it, right? That is kind of part of, I just want to have the success that I was able to get there, find it. Even when we were collaborating with other people and they found it like something earlier, I said, like, don't tell me right away what it is. I still want to have the feeling I kind of solved it, even if I wasn't the first one. But yeah, we enjoyed really much.
Looking forward to next year.
So that night in the Bridge Park, you keep referring to Doug. For our viewers out in TV land, they're referring to Doug Prowl, who is a winner of 2 of our earlier stages. So it was the 2 of you. It was Doug. Were there any other seekers that night at the Bridge Park?
I think there was Navig. This is his Discord name, I think.
They won Shakespeare.
And I think G.I. Jane or something like that.
Possibly his sister?
I would, yeah. I think
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so total, I would say 4 teams, maybe 5. I don't know for sure. Like, we only saw one group and Doug. That's who we saw, but there was some communication on Discord that there were more there.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, then last question. You've talked about some of the individual enjoyment you've gotten out of this. You've talked about some of the group collaboration enjoyment you've gotten out of this. Is there, if you guys were building your own hunt, would you do anything different from what we have done thus far?
Yes, I think I would start. We talk about this a lot. Lots of different things, but I think like starting out a lot easier, like easier for smaller money, and then as you go to getting more difficult to the last stage, 20,000 is hard. Also, I really don't think if it's fair, I hate that word as a teacher, that like stage 6 had 3 solves, but it was $1,000 versus like these other ones that are 1 solve at, $1,800 or whatever. So, but I think I would start off a lot easier with smaller amount of money so that people, when they first get in, they can see that, well, you can do this, you can win this, you can, you can compete in this. And then as it gets harder and harder and harder, the price value goes up.
Yeah.
And then I think I mentioned on Discord, I like kind of the idea when some people are like, they don't have the flexibility that we have where we can just get up and go, having it be like, okay, on the first of the month, this is when the new stage is released. And then kind of giving enough hints throughout to make sure that, it's solved before the end of the month. But I like that kind of idea of, it always being the new one. So yeah, you wouldn't get a head start each time, but it would be like a very set schedule and I would do it all year.
Yep. we've been thinking
I
about
was-
all sorts
I-
of different ways that we can tweak and just make things a little bit better. So appreciate any of the feedback, not just here, but like in Discord or emails or whatever too.
I think the time commitment in the travel is something that not a lot of people can just do like us. Like we're pretty flexible on our schedule, and we don't mind driving for 3 hours to get somewhere. We make it a day, like something like that. So we thought like, okay, the Ella Shark was the perfect opportunity. I really thought we go there and we're gonna solve it like on that weekend,
One day.
like 1 day, 2 days, and
Yeah.
there is no uncertainty where you have to go. But if you have to go there like 3-4 times, if you're like 2 hours away, it's still too much travel. So I don't know. You mentioned that maybe do a local hunt where in a certain area. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
that's one of the
appreciate
things that we were trying to. The travel aspect is a big obstacle, right? So if you're traveling a long ways, making a bunch of trips is not easy to do or enjoyable, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's one of those weird things where you kind of like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, depending on how you want to do it. Like the Ella Sharp, hey, you know where to go. You might have to go there a couple times. If you're in the Jackson area, right?
Go early in the day and every like hour release a new hint. And so that there's a solve by the end of the day.
Yeah, so we have actually talked about stuff like that as well, and do a little bit like more local, single day or a 2-day type of thing. We got a lot of ideas, and you and Doug and a bunch of others have thrown out a bunch of ideas for us to chew on as well. Whether it's a local hunt in the county, in a city, heck, we could go to Bell's, Eccentric Cafe in Kalamazoo and just have something at Bell's, or that kind of thing. So shout out to our friends at Bell's. But
we'll be there, whatever you choose to do. I bet we'll like to join again.
Love it. Yeah, we got a lot of feedback around, couldn't we do a remote, like a virtual hunt? And this was kind of like a version of like part virtual where you got to solve the most of it, but then you have to go physically on site. So it's kind of as much virtual as you can do while still having to get out. And I'm not sure. I'm kind of curious how everybody else felt on most of the solve being done in the comfort of your home and not out a bunch of places. So.
To your initial point that once you have solved it, it pinpoints you really to an exact location. Yeah, that was actually really true on this case. If you had which park, which shop, and knew that it was the which shop in daylight, we would probably be able to have found it like in, 20 minutes, just going around the structure.
Yep. Yeah, the hard part was definitely not finding it once you were there. It was finding out where to go.
Okay, well, I think, Mike, it's time for us to talk a little about Stage 10.
All right, well, let's do that. There's not going to be a ton to talk about because it doesn't start until December 1st. But what we will do is I'm going to throw up, we got an FAQ out there. So we'll kind of run through some of the FAQs for the stage. We're going to be releasing the clue at 5 p.m. on Monday, December 1st. And let's roll through some of these FAQs here. So how's it going to work? We're going to release the clue on the website. The riddle is going to have clues that point you to a specific location to find an object that will give you information. Now, granted, there will be clues to point you to that specific location. We're not going to say it's the bridge park. You're going to have to solve that part, right? But once you found the object, you're going to need to use that information along with other information from previous artifacts from the previous hunts. So there's a page out there with all the artifacts. Nothing is written in invisible ink, so you don't have to worry about like, I don't have the Treasure Island book. But you will be using those to find the final resting place of the treasure and how to access it. So the first person to access the treasure, 20 grand. It's going to be a big prize. The next question on the FAQ. So do you have to travel to 2 locations? Yes, there are 2 locations. They're both south of I-96. The first one is to get the last piece of the puzzle, and then the second one is that final location. So there will be 2 locations to travel to. How difficult will the riddles be, and how long do you expect before someone claims the treasure? It's going to be challenging. It's probably going to take several weeks to a couple months to solve. It's not going to be easy, but for $20,000, it shouldn't be a weekend thing. At least I don't think so. Like, weekend things should be smaller. So it's going to take you a bit. It's going to be challenging. The next one, what happens if nobody solves it? Well, that's no fun. So we're going to continue doing hints. On December 1st, when we release the clue, we'll also release the hint cadence. So, whether it ends up being once a week, every Friday, every other week, whatever that cadence is going to be, we're still working on it, by the way. They'll be released at that same time. So we will be providing the hints at consistent times to keep things moving along. Let's see, what information do you mean by information from our artifacts? So if you are new to the hunt and you haven't been participating up till now, that is perfectly fine. That is not necessary to join now and still win the $20,000. But we have been running 9 smaller hunts, and each one of those had different things that you were finding and locating. So there were a couple coins, a couple QR codes, 2 sides to a leather map page, a bottle of wine, all sorts of stuff. There are 8 artifacts. We can click on that here. And these are the things that our seekers have been finding for the last 5 months. So this is the information. Some of this information, I should say, is going to be what you're going to need to solve the final puzzle, in addition to that final piece that you're solving. So there are pieces of hidden information in here that you will use. The next question, what if I didn't play the early stages? Will you be at a disadvantage? Just reiterate, nope. You'll probably want to read the early stage solves and check out the artifacts. But anybody that's registered can get access to that. So you don't have to have participated. And then the last one is, can you tell us anything more about the artifacts? There are 3 things to keep in mind. Number 1, the information is based on what you can visually see in the pictures. You don't need to access the QR codes. You don't need to access the SD card. There's no invisible ink on anything that you have to care about. So it's just what's visible. On the leather page, there's 1 red herring that doesn't apply to either the final stage or any of the earlier stages. So as you look through the solves of that shows the map, or that leather page, it's going to tell you the things that had been used to solve that. There's something in there that wasn't mentioned and doesn't matter. So there's going to be some of that information. Everything else on the leather page is meaningful to either the final stage or an earlier stage. So that's kind of the quick and dirty on stage 10. So it's exciting. We're getting ready to kick it off on the 1st. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. Go Lions, and give everybody a chance to travel to and fro to family and all that stuff without having to worry, is somebody ahead of us in the hunt. So everybody will be back after Halloween, December 1st, to kick this bad boy off.
Well, so let's talk about this, Mike. So
Yeah.
I think, this FAQ that you just kind of ran through for our audience,
Yep.
you gave a lot of good information. And I think when the solve eventually occurs, people will realize that we did give a lot of information just in these FAQs. So I think that's good on us. But we have Stefan and Erika here, who are our surrogates for all the seekers who've participated thus far and who might participate in the future. So maybe we should give them an opportunity to ask another question or two, maybe to seek clarification, or maybe to give them the opportunity to try and, pull any other little details out of us that they can attempt to do so. So, guys,
I'm good with that, but we may be we may have to reserve the right to say we can't answer that, though, right?
What would I even ask? I don't know. Like you said, Nick, you already gave a lot of information there on these FAQs. You go ahead.
I'm hoping I really, really will. You change it if you can. I want to unlock some treasure chest and have like something inside. So I'm hoping that the end is like there's a key, there's a code.
Maybe that is a question. I don't know if you can answer that or not, but what is the end item? Is it something like a lock or thing, or you can't say?
Yeah, that one you can't say.
Okay.
I will say I almost did that for stage 9. I was going to get like a little mini treasure chest and put our logo in it. But I realized it would have been too big and bulky, and there's a lot of people who go to the bridge park. So like I was on that same pathway for stage 9 even, but I didn't find anything that I could do where people wouldn't just randomly see it and take it.
I was thinking from when we went to Hell, Michigan, there was a small bridge and it's covered in locks. It's like the locks of love or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing that and being like, oh my God, that would be so cool. And I was like, oh, they missed an opportunity. They could have totally had, one of the clues be like on this lock. So
that's
cool.
Actually
a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll lock that one away for maybe a future hunt.
A good combination. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, that's a very good question, Erika. But as we said, we're not going to answer that. Sorry.
I don't have any other questions for you.
No. We have to see what the riddle is, and then we will have questions. But then it's late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It'll be a fun riddle. I really hope everybody enjoys it. Some chat here. And Macintosh, I looked at every one of those locks. Love it.
That was a cool bridge to find.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Greg says, I don't think you will be disappointed.
Okay.
Cool.
That's cryptic
Something
enough.
to look forward to.
So,
I think
well,
it's
also
probably
thank
time.
you. Yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for playing this, this whole time, and spread the word if you can. Anybody that's out there, it's a ton of fun. It's been fun building it, and it sounds like it's been just as much fun finding things.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Yeah, thank you guys for setting this up. It's a lot of fun for us, and I guess for a lot of other people too. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Our pleasure.
All right, Nate.
I don't have anything else. Let's until next time. Take care, guys.
see you Monday.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy hunting. All right, see ya. And